Good evening. Good evening. We will get started in about 2 minutes. Want to give some folks a chance to log in. So we'll give it a few more moments. All right. Good afternoon. Good evening. Hi, this is Marcy Williams, founder and CEO of College and Career for Youth. I want to welcome you to my little chat about how and why I started KaKY. You'll see some brief instructions on the first screen. What we want to see is smiling faces. So this was typically designed for a Zoom, so of course you can't share your video, but definitely feel free to type your comments in the comment box or questions as we move through this presentation. And the most important thing I want you to do is ask the questions you've always wanted to ask, and I'll try my best to answer as much as I can. Let's have fun and let's learn from each other, okay? Can everyone see me okay? If you can't, just let me know. Maybe give me a thumbs up or a comment. Can everyone see and hear me okay? Okay. Looks good. All right. Well, again, thank you for joining me this evening. My name is Marcy Williams, and I am the founder and CEO of College and Career for Youth. And I'm excited to be here because I wanted to share a little bit about me. I get a lot of questions about KaKY. What is this KaKY thing? How did you get started? What is it that you're doing? So I just want to flip over here really quickly to see if we have any questions. What is this KaKY thing? How did you get started? What is it that you're doing? Okay. So I just want to flip over here really quickly to see. Okay. Can everyone see me okay? All right. So what is KaKY? If we have any questions. What is this KaKY thing? Okay, had a little technical difficulty there, so I'm going to stay over here. So a little bit about me. I have been running KaKY as a nonprofit, which stands for College and Career for Youth, for about 15 years now. I started in 2005, and the idea was to help youth prepare for college. Pretty simple. That's what it was, just to jump in and help prepare you for college. But it was so much more than that. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about a few things. I want to share some of my tips and tricks, so to speak. What I found a lot is that people don't like to share. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be flipping between screens. So bear with me as I'm sharing. Let's see. Okay. So today I wanted to chat about my why. Why did I get started? Some of the processes and the planning that I went through along this path, because for those that have a nonprofit or a business, you know that is not cookie cutter. We get a lot of self-help books and a lot of requests, but it's not cookie cutter. So I want to talk to you about the process and the planning. Doing it alone, not ideal. So let's look at that, how we stay on track. And I want to share some of the insider secrets. Maybe they're not secrets. Maybe they are, not sure. But I want to share what I've learned along the way, that it took some digging and it took me getting to know people to get the information. So the first thing is my why. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a veterinarian. That's what I always wanted to do my whole entire life. From the time, I don't know if you guys remember the animal shows that used to come on after the cartoons. You know, you had the whole animal show, Mutual of Omaha, I think is what it was. So you had those shows that came on after the cartoons, and I always wanted to be that person. Or if you remember on the Donahue show, I don't know if you guys remember, you know, they used to bring in these special guests with these exotic cats and birds and kangaroos and snakes. I don't do snakes, but they bought them anyway. But they brought in all these exotic animals, and I'm like, wow, I really want to do that. I want to be that person. So that was how I started on this journey. I want to be a veterinarian. As I got into high school, I went to George Wolfe High School, and I had a counselor then that kind of discouraged me a little bit. She said to me that Black women are not veterinarians. I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. What do you mean? This is something I've always wanted to do. I used to go to cat shows and cat fancy magazines and all these things. And I was like, I was determined to be the best large cat vet in the world. I was going to travel to Africa and all these places and be on out in the desert with different types of cats, and in the jungles and in the bush and just everywhere with cats. Lions and tigers and cheetahs and all these things. And she told me that Black women could not be veterinarians. Now, that crushed me to some degree, but at the same time, I was determined to try it anyway. So I went to college, and this is the driver behind me starting KaKy. When I went to college, no one told me about scholarships. No one told me about working on campus, different ways to finance school, and I did it the hard way. I went through getting student loans and then tons of debt. I went to J. Sergeant Reynolds first, which is nothing wrong with that. I went to J. Sergeant Reynolds, graduated, transferred to VCU. But I was in a lot of debt because I didn't know my options. I didn't realize at a 3.8 GPA that I could have got some money. And then on top of all that, I was accepted to Spelman. I was accepted to Longwood. But my fear and uncertainty about my career path made me stay home. And I never told my mom. I stayed home and didn't go. Why am I telling you this? Is because all youth have a dream. As you see here, they all have something they want to do. They've always wanted to do, and they need encouragement. They need inspiration. So that's why I started College and Career for Youth. I wanted to make sure that I was able to help young people on their path towards college and career of their choice, not my choice. So that's kind of why I started KaKy. And like I said, it's been 15 years and I have not regretted it one bit. Now, we want to shift really quickly to how I got to this point. And I have some really cool pictures here. You know, we take pictures. I want to stop for a second and I want to ask anyone who's out there who's gone to an event and who's taking pictures to just get a photo op, to just be in a picture, an event, to kind of, throw it up on your social media, to share. Who's done that? Anyone want to share? How did you get started? What is it that you're doing? Okay, so I just want to flip over. Okay, I had some more technical difficulties. So has anyone done that? Has anyone taken pictures and shared them just to say I was at this event with this really famous person? You see I have some pictures here. Roland Martin, I got the guys Omega Psi Phi, Brian Heat here. So I've been at some events where I've taken pictures with people, but this is where it gets important. Is networking and partnerships are important. Why are they important? Because one, you have to build relationships. Building relationships requires that you get out of your comfort zone. I'm very much introverted, even though people don't believe that about me. And they think, Marcy's out there and she's on the news and she's doing all these things. However, I'm very introverted. So it's always a challenge for me when I go to events to connect with people. How do I connect? By doing what I love. And what I do is I love working with youth, so it's very easy for me to connect with people. But I'm very shy and introverted. I know it's really hard to believe, but I am. So I go to events to connect with people. I look for, in particular, and this is a point I want to give you, is when you're thinking about networking, the first question you want to ask yourself is, why am I going to this event? Am I going because all the popular people are there? Am I going because I want to be in the inn with some of the famous people, rub elbows, get a part of the clique? I mean, let's just be real here. A lot of us go to events because we're not included, we're not invited to some degree. And so we go to events to build relationships, to build friendships, and hopefully get people to support our programs. That's usually the goal. But what's your goal? Why do you go to these events? So think about that for a second. It used to be that I would try to go to every event that it had in Richmond, all the popular events, and I won't name them, but you can kind of guess what they are. And I would go, but when I would go, I never felt either a part of it or I didn't even know why I was really there. I thought it was somewhere I had to be to build my brand, to build my business. So I started all this networking and going to every scholarship event, every outdoor themed event, just everything that was happening. I was going and spending tons of money. Tickets. And when I would come home, I came home the same way I left, empty-handed, and I haven't done anything to build KaKY. So before you put money into an event, I want you to think about your why. If your purpose is to go just to have fun, great, do that. If your purpose to go is to build relationships for your business, that's a different thought. There, you need to think about the audience. And one of my best friends, and I don't know if she's watching or not, but she can attest to this when it comes to me, Christy, whenever there would be different events, and we would either go or something like that, I said, I don't know if I should go because I'm not sure how it will be reflected upon my brand. Because I work with youth in the community, because I work with school systems and court systems and churches, I had to be so very mindful of how I position myself as to not do harm to my brand. Yeah. And for those that have more open businesses, they may think I was being a little stuck up. I can say that, it doesn't bother me. They may think I was being a little particular. But I had to be so very cautious because in this industry and in the nonprofit industry, you never know who's watching. You don't know who's listening. They look at your actions. They look at everything you do. So if you're really, really serious about your business, you have to look at your circle. You have to look at how you position yourself and be very strategic. Okay, that's part of this networking and partnerships. One, the networking piece is the events and joining organizations. And I suggest you do that. I suggest that you go to the Metropolitan Business League events. I suggest you go to maybe SWAM focused trainings, things like that that will benefit your organization. But when you find yourself running to every time the door is open, is it really adding value to your organization and your growth? You may want to slow down a minute, and this is something that I did, is I slowed down a bit and I wrote out a list for the next year of where I wanted to be. It was a training I wanted to take, online workshops, different events, and the cost. I wrote out a networking and partnership building budget. And when I did that, I also looked at the value add to my organization. So I set a goal. That's the second part of networking and partnerships, is getting outside your comfort zone, but setting goals. When I go to a training, I want to leave with a checklist of this. My goal with this training is to achieve this skill set, to learn how to write this type of document. I set myself a goal because I don't want to just go sit in a class because it sounds really cool and sit there with my pen and paper and I have no idea what I really wanted out of it. So set yourself a goal with your networking. Now, partnerships are a little different. Partnerships require that you come together and you collaborate with other companies, organizations, or individuals. Partnerships can be tricky, but they are so very beneficial. In my 15 years at KaKY, I have managed to network and partner combined with over 1,500 organizations statewide by either chairing a board, participating on a board, or offering my services to different organizations. It allowed me to connect with different areas of DJJ, different school systems from Northern Virginia to Charles City to Crewe, Virginia, Lynchburg. I've been to all different corners of the state, connecting with organizations, meeting their needs. And we're going to talk about needs in a minute. So partnerships allowed me to not only get in the face of people and show what I could do, but also to learn what was trending, what the needs were of my audience, because my audience has always been youth and the organizations that service youth. That's my audience. So building those partnerships allowed me to hone in my skill a little bit, to learn more about the needs, to be able to meet those needs, but also what it did, and it kind of had a negative effect on my organization, is it caused me to grow really, really fast. I went from college prep to career readiness to workforce development to working with homeless youth, sex trafficking, social media safety, life skills, financial literacy, working in group homes, mental health for youth. So I went from my core to this huge globular, if that's a word, thing, mass of KaKY. That's where I went. I went from my core focus of just college and career, because I wanted to partner with everyone, that I tried to meet the needs of every partner. And that's a huge mistake. When you're working in an organization and you have your niche, you have your core focus of the service that you offer, it is very important that you don't allow your partners, clients, or anyone else say, hey, can you do this? Yes, I can do it. Hey, can you help us with youth and vocational? Yeah, I do vocational. Hey, can you help us with youth and SAT boot camps? Yeah, I do that too. So I went from this college and career to vocational, SAT boot camp, workforce, life skills, communication skills. I mean, I went from 2 services to about 25 services. Can I just tell you, that was the worst decision I ever made. Why in the world would I take on so much? And it's just little old me. It's just me. I found myself running around Richmond. I found myself trying to do all these things, piecemealing all over the place. And pretty much what I did was I not so much watered down my brand, but I stretched it to a point where it became hard to manage. And I got very overwhelmed. I did. And that's kind of where I am today. And that's why I wanted to share with you, because I know there are some folks out there that are looking at starting a nonprofit who wants to work with youth. And so I wanted to share some of my lessons learned so that you don't go down the same rabbit hole. Now, some of my friends may say, Marcy, why are you sharing that for free? That's consulting and that's, business strategy. It sure is. However, I'm still staying in my lane. Yes, I'm a business strategist by trade and a project manager, and I have a nonprofit. But I wanted to share this because it's important for the next generation. As I sit back and I watch all of the movements taking place with Black Lives Matter, I look at our young people, our millennials and our Generation Zs, and our next generation of young people coming forward to be a voice, to join in the movement, to lead the movement. When I look at them, I also look at, we as our generation need to support them. We need to guide them because they have an abundance of energy and emotion, but we have lessons learned from that. So it's important for us to reach back and say, hey, this is great what you're doing, but have you thought about it this way? Have you considered this? And so that's why I'm doing this today, because I want to reach back and share my lessons learned of 15 years running a nonprofit. So I digress. So we talked about networking and partnerships. Now I want to go back a step here, and I talked about my why, okay? But I want to talk a little bit more about that. So when I look at my why also, I want you to think about not just your why, but your how. How do you manage your nonprofit? How do you even get started? I mean, really, I wanted a nonprofit because I wanted to be able to get donations so that I can help more youth. And one of my really good friends, Dr. Chantel Chambers, who is known for Dress for Success Central VA and the nonprofitability partner, one of the things she often says to nonprofits, and I wish she had told me this 15 years ago, but you cannot start a nonprofit thinking that you're going to fund this thing with grants. Yeah. Excuse me. Do not start a nonprofit and think that you're going to sit down and you're going to get a grant and it's going to be for $50,000, $100,000, and you're going to do all this great and wonderful stuff. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry to tell you. If you do, you are the pink poodle out of millions of nonprofits. It's very, very challenging to get grants, to write grants, to find the grant that meets your needs. And what you find yourself doing is trying to tailor your program to fit a grant. So starting a nonprofit with the hopes of getting grant funding and paying yourself that 20-25% of the grant and hiring people and getting a building, that is not the right first step, and that should not be your driver towards starting a nonprofit. Okay. So for me, that was it. Honestly, I started thinking, I'm going to get grant funding, I'm going to get money, and I'm going to be able to help all these youth, and I'm going to do all these really great and wonderful things. That did not happen. What happened was I found myself asking for a lot of money. I found myself begging in some cases for money from people to help me with my programs. I found myself funding out of my own pocket. I was spending my own pocket money. I was paying bills at home and trying to find $50, $100, $200, $300 out of my paycheck to put on KaKy. I found myself having lots of little events to raise money to fund KaKy. Facebook donations, Amazon Smile, all these really great, wonderful things that gave me sprinkles. I got sprinkles of money throughout the process. I did not get a lot of money. So when you're starting the process of getting a nonprofit, first of all, how many of you feel that you need to have a business plan? Any thoughts about a business plan? So for me, I did not do a business plan. I know, kind of messy, huh? Yeah, I didn't do a business plan because I was like, yeah, I don't need that. I have a nonprofit and I'm going to get all kinds of money and I'm going to be really great and cool and not have any problems. Big mistake. Now, some organizations will tell you you only need a business plan if you plan to go to a bank for loans, which is true. You do. You need a really good business plan. However, going through the process of developing a business plan also allows you to think strategically. It doesn't have to be perfect to present to a bank, but it allows you to pull a lot of information together and really, really scale your business to something that's manageable. So think about your business plan if you have one. If you don't, it's okay. You may have one. I'm going to tell you how you may have it. But think about your goals. Do you have goals for your business? Think about your checklist. We have all kinds of really cool notebooks and checklists. How many of you have a checklist? Next, I want you to think about that vision board party you went to. We all go to these really cool vision board parties. How many of you have thought about doing a business vision board, primarily focused on just your business? I did one. And it's the best thing that you can do. While you're not writing a full-blown business plan, doing a business vision board, and it doesn't have to be with cutouts from magazines and things like that, even though that's helpful, but maybe it could be Post-its where you can write different things on Post-its so you can put it on a wall, on a board. And then the good thing about Post-its is you can move them around. You can shift them around and reposition, and you can come up with a really good business plan that way. So when you think of a business plan, you don't have to think of a traditional document with the executive summary and the goals and the mission and all these really cool things for your organization. You don't have to go to that level of detail. You can keep it as simple as finding a really cool wall that you can use in your house, the back of a closet door. I use my mirror sometimes with Post-its, and sometimes you can just map out your business strategy that way. So you want to make sure that you have a process in your planning, because this is very critical. Before you jump into a nonprofit, you want to make sure that you have a process for yourself. If you're not sure, you can look some up. And then you want to have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I didn't. I stepped in with, I want to help you get ready for college and career, and I want a nonprofit, and I'm going to start a nonprofit, and then I'm going to ask all the schools to let me come in and be the person that help the kids prepare for college and career. That was my plan. How'd that work out for me? It didn't work too well from the beginning, let me just tell you. I had to do a lot of changing really, really fast. But that was my plan, because I had all this passion and energy, and I just wanted to jump right in with both feet and just save the world, because that's what nonprofit owners want to do. We want to save the world in some capacity. There's someone that has a need, and we want to save them somewhere. Whether it's food, clothes, shoes, socks, babies, Pampers, whatever, hats. We want to save everyone. And I didn't have a plan for how I was going to do that. So you want to make sure you have a plan. The next thing you want to do as part of your planning process is you want to make sure that your goal is not the money. Yes, the goal ultimately is to make money somehow. But starting a nonprofit, your goal can't be to make money. My goal wasn't to make money. My goal was just to get enough money to help all these kids and do all these great things. I never even thought about paying myself. I never knew I could. I was like, oh, I can get a check? How do I do that? I never got to that point. I just didn't. I started a nonprofit. I raised money. It went back into the nonprofit. Yeah. So you want to make sure that when you're starting a nonprofit, that your primary goal is not to make money. That was my mistake. My goal wasn't to make money, but I never thought about the money I needed to run it either. It costs money in some degree to run a nonprofit. It's not free. Just because it's a nonprofit doesn't mean that you don't need money. And it definitely does not mean that people will just hand you money. Absolutely not. It won't happen. So make sure that you have a passion for what you're doing. We talked about the plan, we talked about the process, we talked about profit, but now your passion. What is your why? Go back to that. Whatever you do not let people get in your head. Oh, I think you should start a nonprofit to do this because you're really good at that. Oh, I think you should add this to your nonprofit. And I think, Marcy, with KaKY, you're doing college and career, you should also help kids build cars. And you should also help young people build cars, build houses, stay out of prison, get jobs, learn how to manage their finances, learn life skills, teach them how to run a household, teach them how to buy their first home, teach them gardening. Like, it was coming at me from all angles of all the things I should be doing for youth. Because what happens is people have their ideas about programs, and they're usually focused on what they've experienced and they're needed. And so when they see the opportunity to now feed into something so they can achieve their goal, they'll do that. So you have to stay focused on your passion. What is your why? Why did you start from the beginning? Why? Okay. So think about your why and think about the how. Now, I want you to stay on track. Now, here it says right here, 58% of women-owned businesses grew 58% from 2007 to 2018. That's huge. They grew 58%. But during the same time, the number of businesses owned by Black women grew 164%. What in the world? 164%. Did y'all hear me? Can you hear me okay? I hope you can. 164% from 2007 to 2018. Now, why do you think that happened? Why do you think that happened? Definitely the pay gap, the gender pay gap. 72 cents to every dollar that a woman makes compared to a man. Absolutely. You had to deal with a lot of single moms and changes in generations, family structure, lots of different drivers. But for a woman to step outside her comfort zone or step up and say, you know what, I want to start a business. What was happening during 2007 that would have a woman say, you know what, I want to start a business? It could be a lot of different things. But what does that say to you? That should say to you that I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right track. I'm not just starting a business because I don't have anything else to do. This is what I want to do. Do not jump on the business bandwagon because of that 164%. What is your why? Going back to the first slide, what is your why? Why did you start your business, your nonprofit, or just your regular B2B? Why did you start your business? Now, here in particular, I like to talk about sticking to it, sticking to your why, staying on track. Now, again, with everything that's going on in the economy right now, Black Lives Matter, we're dealing with political climate that's just all over the doggone place. I mean, really all over the place. Uncertainties about the future, companies shutting down all over the globe. All over the globe. How in the world do you stick to wanting to run a business? Because you have to be in an environment, in a business, in a market that is immovable. And I say that to mean that you want to be in a position where your why is bigger and greater than what's happening today. When you start a business, it needs to be a business that's resilient, that's not easily movable by some changes in the environment. Now, we know some things you do have to shut your business down. I had a KaKY Youth Development Center downtown. I was so excited. I don't know if any of you ever saw it on Facebook. When I opened it, I got all this really cute furniture, and I had things on the wall, and I was going to do vocational training, and I was going to bring in all these people, and I couldn't get the youth in. I couldn't get parents to commit. I couldn't get schools to commit. I probably had, during my 6 months there, maybe 5 youth show up. Very discouraging. Very discouraging. Almost depressing. I definitely cried a lot because my heart was to have a place where young people could come to learn, to get access to resources, whether it's court-based, whether it's food, clothes, housing, whatever the case may be. That was my goal. And in my 6 months there, I probably had 5 or 6 young people come. And it was really hard. It was really hard for me to close the doors, but I did. However, I did not waver from my dream and my goal of wanting to help youth. I stuck to my why. I just changed my how. Okay. So I stuck to my why. The climate didn't afford me the opportunity to keep a building, but it did not take away from my goal and my passion inside myself to help young people. And so that's why I continued in that direction. So you have to stick to your why. Also, another way to stick to your why is to build a team. How many of you actually have a team that you work with? You have a real team that you work with that helps you to support your business. Well, I can honestly say, I do not. I do not have a team. I'm trying to build a team. I'm working with 2 people, hopefully, prayerfully, that will be part of my team. But for 15 years, 15, I had a team of 2 people. I had my daughters that I kind of, plucked their nerves a little bit. I would drag my mom along as the caterer. Whenever I had events, she was that person. I had my intern, Micaiah. I had Rashida, who helped me with some community stuff. So I had a team of 2 for a little short while, maybe for about a year or 2. But for 15 years, hear me well, I did this thing by myself. I did. That was a big no-no. Don't do that. Do not start your nonprofit or any business thinking that you don't need anyone's help. You do. Now, to the extent it will vary, but we all need some level of support. Ladies, Do not think I'm this super strong Black woman. I got a cape on and I could just do this by myself. No, don't do that to yourself. However, I can agree with you when you're probably saying, but Marcy, it's hard. Marcy, I don't know who to trust. Marcy, I don't believe they're going to do it the way I do it because I have a certain way I like to do things. I get it. I get it. It's your baby. It's something that you grew. It's something that you started from in here, like you carried it for 9 months and you birthed this thing. It's your baby. I get it. Because it's still hard for me. But I do realize I need a team because the truth be told, my brain is tired. I am tired of thinking and tired of figuring and tired. I'm probably messing up this stream. I hope I'm not, because I did all the technology all by my little self. And while I work in IT, and I've been in IT my whole career, this whole streaming, connecting these different platforms together is very, very new for me. So I'm praying that you guys can hear me. I'm praying that you're understanding me. If you're raising your hand or you're commenting, I apologize if I'm not responding, but I don't see them. So I'm sorry if that's happening, but I will respond after if you have comments or questions. So back to sticking to your why is make sure you build a team. It could be 2 people, but you want to make sure you pick the right people that's going to work for you, work with you, support you, and you want those 1 or 2 or 3 people that's going to tell you the truth. I don't need you to coddle me and to pacify me because KaKY's my baby. If I have I have a couple good friends that tell me when I'm just being absolutely crazy. Marcy, don't do that. Are you losing your mind? No. I had a conversation with 2 of my friends the other day, Chantel and Sonia, and they kind of went in on me a little bit. Actually made me cry. But they did it in love because I needed it. I needed that tough love to say, look, and I mean, probably if they were around me, if we weren't isolated, they probably would have grabbed me and shook me. I would have had like shaking baby something going on. They would have shaken me because I was really like flipping clean out, not knowing what to do. And I needed that. So we need those friends. We need that circle of people that's going to tell us the truth. We may not always agree. We may not do what they suggest, but you need the tough love also. So stick to your why. And then finally, the last thing I wanted to share were some insider secrets. Now, it's not a secret, but it's kind of a secret because there are a lot of tools and resources out there that you may not be aware of. There were a lot that I discovered, and one of my other good friends, and I have a few good friends, good business friends, who will really tell me the truth and also give me direction. My friend Mia, Born to Be Great, she's another really, really strong nonprofit, and I absolutely love the work that she does. She was able to course correct some of the behind the scene things that I was not doing. She got me, I guess, access to different platforms, different organizations that help nonprofits, different ways to do things. She even shared some documents with me that I never even thought about as templates. So it's important as nonprofit owners and as business owners, women, we need to share. Please stop saying, well, I had to learn the hard way and I had to do it all by myself, so she's going to have to learn the hard way too. That is the wrong attitude to have. It is. You can't grow that way. You can't learn that way. That's like having a job and not wanting to train your successor or train the next person because you don't want them to take your job. Do you realize that when you hold on to that skill and that knowledge, that what you've done is put yourself in a box, because now you have not opened up an opportunity for you to be able to move, because your boss is going to keep you there because you're the only one that knows how to do that thing. So what you've done is you stunted your own growth by trying to keep everything close to your chest. What you have done is you put yourself in a box. We as women in business must stop doing that. So I'm here to share what I've learned, what I know. So I'm going to name a couple of tools that I've used, and I suggest that you look them up. I'll try to put links in the comments after of different tools that I've used. But first of all, there's several nonprofit websites. I don't know if you're familiar with Network for Good. Network for Good is a nonprofit tool that's also used to help with fundraising. You'll see a lot of people who donate money through Facebook, where the nonprofit is connected to Network for Good because that's who actually cuts the check. So there's some fundraising opportunities and processes within Network for Good that will allow you to learn how to raise money. Then you have Connect, I believe it's called Connect VA. And I'm going to put the links in the chat. I believe it's called Connect VA. I could be wrong. Connect VA, and I'm sorry, I'm looking for, yes. Connect VA is a organization that you must be a nonprofit to be a part of. And I'm going to put the link here. You must be a part of it. And what that allows you to do is that allows you to get access to resources, whether it's computer equipment. If you want to help to build your board, you can request it through there. They have posts for events, jobs that are posted. All of it's relative to nonprofits. So that's a good resource. They actually have a tab there where you can go in and look for technology, look for furniture, people who are selling furniture, giving furniture away, things like that. So that's a really, really, really super great resource to go to. That's a good starting point. You can go through there and buy software for your computers. Is anything you need for your nonprofit to function, they can help you. Okay, so that's a good site there. Also, some of the organizations you want to connect with, of course, is SWAM. And for a nonprofit, and this was Dr. Malachi could probably help you, Chantel, you're not able to become SWAM certified as a nonprofit, but you're able to take advantage of the opportunities that they have. You want to make sure that you connect with the Metropolitan Business League. You have WOMB, Women-Owned Minority Businesses, with Maya Harris. Another great organization to connect with. She's doing a lot with women in business and training and workshops. So those are some of my favorites. If you're looking to start a nonprofit, hear me well. Do not just go to the IRS.gov and complete the form, the tax form, to become tax exempt, and wait for it to come in and say, oh, now I'm a nonprofit and I'm going to do all of my other filing. No. I highly suggest you get a consultant, and let me tell you why. There are several different nonprofit categories within the IRS. The application is super long, but for smaller nonprofits, most of it doesn't apply. That's the first thing. The second thing, when you're filing with the State Corporation Commission, when you're filing to get your business license, you have to also file with the state, not just the State Corporation Commission, but now you have the IRS, but you also have state tax. There are different forms you need to file for that. You have the Department of Agriculture. Yeah, go figure. I learned that the hard way, that you have to file paperwork with them, but each piece builds on the next. If you mess up one piece in the middle of the process, it'll take you down a different path you don't want to go. The consultant is critical to make sure that the paperwork you're completing is what's required for your specific type of nonprofit. If your friend Becky or Sally or whomever over here has a nonprofit and she says, here's what I did, and if her nonprofit is to feed the homeless, and if your nonprofit is to help young people that are incarcerated, your paperwork is very different. So non-profitability partner is another one, and I'll share that after this live, which will end in a few moments. Chantel Chambers is who I would suggest. Have I set up nonprofits? Yes. Do I do that now? No. Why? Because I'm what? Staying in my lane. I am all about sharing the work that other women in business are doing, how they do it, connecting. It's not a referral fee. It's none of that. We have to pay it forward so we can grow our communities, so we can uplift other women in business. That's what I want to do. So that's why I'm name dropping like I am, because there are opportunities for everyone. There's enough business out here for everyone. Okay. So I just wanted to come out here and share a little bit about what I do, why I got started, how I got started, how you can move forward in doing the same thing, and share resources that help me to be successful. So I want to stop there for a moment to see if anyone has any questions for me. You can feel free to post them in the comments if you have specific questions. You'll see here I have my contact information. So you can contact me either via email or my website. I see they have website and email. It's the same. Well, my website is 12kaky.com. So you can find more information about my organization there. You can also send me an email if you'd like to learn more about what I do, if you would like to become a part of College and Career for Youth as a partner or as a volunteer. I am currently bringing on some new board members. So if that's something that you're interested in, I will be having a board member interest meeting on tomorrow. If you're interested, just send me an email and I will include you in that as well. So again, my name is Marcy Williams, founder and CEO of College and Career for Youth, where we are building today's dreams into tomorrow's career, one letter at a time. Thank you so very much for your time and your attention. Please continue to look forward to some other things I have coming up. One things I have coming up next will be I have a project management class coming up for beginners. That's going to be on July 16th. That link will be shared as well where you can register. And what this is going to be about is teaching people about project management. What is it all about? How am I a project manager? If you're an educator, if you're a business owner, if you work in any type of business or organization, if you're a mother and you're a stay-at-home mom, you are a project manager. So I can help to give you the skills that you need to be effective. I've been a project manager for about 25 years. I worked in private and public, corporate, federal, state, and city. So I've been doing this a long time. So you want to sign up for my project management class. And again, if you have any questions for me, feel free to send me an email. So I'm going to stay on for a few moments to see if you have any questions. If not, thank you so very much for joining me. And I will talk to you again soon.